Disasters can feel really overwhelming, but just understanding them is the first big step towards staying safe. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what they are and how we all get prepared. And to help us out, we're going to be following the reports of a very special correspondent. And this is Tashu. She's going to be our reporter on the ground, taking us right into different disaster scenarios so we can see what they're really like. So come on, let's join her as she gets started with the absolute basics. So what makes a really bad event a full-blown disaster? Well, it really comes down to the scale of the damage. It's when an event causes serious harm to people's lives, to property, and to the environment, all at the same time. This definition is really our foundation for everything else. Okay, so not all disasters are created equal, right? The first major way we can categorize them is by where they come from. Are they caused by the forces of nature, or are they a result of human actions? Figuring this out is absolutely crucial. And Tashu's first report takes us to a disaster that, believe it or not, can sometimes be a little bit of both. All right, our first stop with Tashu is a pretty intense one. She's reporting from the scene of a forest fire, a perfect example of how that line between natural and man-made can get really blurry. You see, what makes a forest fire so terrifying is just how fast and out of control it can get. The damage is just immense, from wiping out entire habitats to choking the air with smoke for miles around. And yeah, a lightning strike can kick one off, but just as often, the cause is simple human carelessness, like a campfire that wasn't put out properly. So how in the world do you fight something so massive? Well, it's a strategy with a lot of layers. It all starts with prevention and getting those early warnings out. But once a fire is burning, a huge tactic is containment, creating what they call fire lines. It's basically clearing a path of trees and brush to starve the fire of its fuel. And in every single situation, acting fast is what saves lives. Okay, from the danger of fire, Tashu's next report is taking us to a hilly area where the threat isn't from flames, but from the ground right under your feet. A landslide is pretty much what it sounds like. It's when gravity just wins the battle against a hillside. Now, the triggers can be totally natural, like an earthquake or tons of rain, but a lot of the time, it's human activity that makes the land weak in the first place. When you cut down trees, you get rid of that amazing root system that acts like a net, holding all the soil together. Without it, a collapse is way more likely. So the solutions, well, they're really about trying to reverse that damage and just being smarter about where we build. Planting more trees helps lock that soil back in place. And beyond that, it's about common sense, like not building on really steep hills. And most importantly, knowing when to get out of there if heavy rains make the conditions dangerous. For her next report, Tashu is switching gears from geology to biology. She's now in a farming community that's facing a disaster that can literally show up as a giant moving cloud, and it can destroy an entire year's worth of crops in just minutes. I mean, the sheer scale of a locust swarm is almost impossible to wrap your head around. We're not talking about a few bugs. We're talking about a massive, flying swarm that just eats everything in its path. For any place that relies on farming, this is a direct threat to their food, their jobs, their everything. So, you can't just sit back and wait for something like this to hit. Dealing with it takes a really high-tech, coordinated plan. It's a race against time, using technology to track where these swarms are going, and it absolutely requires a strong partnership between the government and the farmers on the ground. Tashu's final report is one that I think we can all connect with on a personal level. It's a disaster that isn't in just one place. It's invisible, and it impacts the entire world. Yeah, this number really just says it all, doesn't it? Millions. It's a number so huge, it's hard to even imagine, but it really highlights the massive scale and the deeply personal impact of a global health crisis. A pandemic, by its very nature, is a disease that doesn't care about borders, and its impact goes way beyond just health. It completely rewires our society. It changes how we live, how we work, and how we connect with each other every single day. And the way we fight it, it's this amazing mix of huge scientific achievements and really small personal choices. From the miracle of vaccines all the way down to the simple act of washing your hands, every single step is part of one big team effort to slow the spread and protect everyone. So after seeing all these different situations, we can kind of zoom out and see the big idea here: disaster management. Look, it's not about stopping every bad thing from ever happening. That's just not possible. It's about having a plan before it happens and taking smart action to make the damage as small as possible when it does. When you boil it all down, staying safe really comes down to these three key ideas: being prepared before something happens, having awareness of the risks around you, and good old-fashioned teamwork when we need to respond. And that really turns the spotlight right back on us, doesn't it? It's one thing to learn about all this stuff, but the million-dollar question is, have we actually applied any of it to our own lives? So what does being prepared actually look like in real life? It's not some big, complicated thing. It's practical stuff. It means having an emergency kit ready to go. It means knowing basic first aid. It means taking the time to learn the safety rules for where you live. These are the simple things that can make all the difference for you and your family. Tashi's final message here just wraps it all up so perfectly. This whole thing isn't about being scared. It's about being empowered. We can't always control the disaster itself, but we can always control how we respond to it. Being aware, prepared, and responsible, those are our best tools. It sounds so simple, right? Safety first. But it's so much more than just a saying. It's a whole mindset. It's the core of what it means to be truly prepared. And that's where we'll leave it. It's not about trying to do everything all at once. It's just about starting. So what's your first step? Is it putting together that emergency kit, maybe learning a little first aid? Or could it be as simple as just talking about a plan with your family? Really think about it. What's that one thing you can do to get started?